Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. Today we are recording episode 82, and today we will be talking about all sorts of different alphabets, so it should be a fun episode. I'm curious to learn what Jared has in store for us today. And here at the Untranslatable Podcast, our mission here is to bring you untranslatable words and phrases, which are generally words and phrases that don't translate directly or translate very smoothly into English. We are obviously very biased here as native English speakers. And also, our other goal here is to promote the love of language learning. We are slowly but surely on our journey to becoming polyglots and experts on the untranslatables. And we hope you will be as well. So we're looking forward to bringing you this episode today. Without further ado, I bring you my co-host and my buddy today, possibly the alphabet genius, Jared. What's going on, Jared?
ABC, would you look at me? Did you know that polyglot comes from the Greek word poly and glotta, which is many?
Can I tell you? Oh, yep. Okay. Sorry. Yep. I was going to say,
hey,
but
listen,
you're good.
You had your chance, Chad. This is my turn to talk. Shut up. Flipping on gator piss. Yeah, it means many tongues. Please, everyone, follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, Twitter, Untranslatable1, where you can hear some more of these great little facts, uninterrupted by Chad, which is even better. Or you can email us, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your travel stories, untranslatables. You can send us untranslatables anywhere. The DMs are always open. Open and lacking, let me clarify. Except for your friend Ashley, who gave us spread a little love and gave us a shout out on her Instagram. So thank you to you. And she got 2 thank yous because Chad pays 0 attention to our social media. Ever. So not only did she get 1, but Chad's in another because it's way too much work to just look at the previous story and see what's there.
Hey, I'm still trying to learn Instagram here, Jared.
Or, yeah, I'm sure that's the problem. Or you can spread a little love and give us 5-star reviews. And please spread a little love and give us 5-star reviews on Instagram. I mean, I don't think that's possible. On iTunes and Stitcher, because I, as of yesterday, am unemployed. So if we can say up the reviews by about 1,000%, 5,000% in the next, say, week or 2, that would be great, because for now, my only career is the Untranslatable Podcast, and I'll tell you this, it's not a very lucrative career as of yet. I'm down a couple $100, and it's not coming back. So please, spread a little love with about 5,000 to 10,000 5-star reviews, and then we can get those sponsorships coming in. But other than that, it's good to be here. That wasn't a joke, by the way.
Okay. You had me completely fooled for a second there.
That was not a joke. April Fool's was a couple days ago. I am unemployed. I don't know how much I can get into legally, but my company laid off a large number of people yesterday.
Oh, damn.
I was one of those people. And so now I'm a free agent. And as I said, spread a little love. Simple 5,000 to 10,000 reviews. And I'm not even concerned.
There we go.
How's it going in Chomutov?
Pretty good, man. Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that. But the good news is you're a strapping young lad with a lot of brains and a lot of experience. So I got faith in you. But things are going good here. As you can tell from the lighting, at least the ones watching this on YouTube. Sorry for all of our listeners elsewhere.
Gorgeous.
It is nice and sunny here. We had daylight savings time on Sunday, and it's just been great. Sunshine until like 7:30, 8 o'clock, which is wonderful.
Got a couple
Feels
more
really
minutes.
strange. And yeah, life is good. Unfortunately, I was a little concerned. So yesterday, I woke up and I could barely talk. I could barely talk yesterday.
How'd
it was
that happen?
bad. I have no idea. I went to sleep with a little itch in my throat. I woke up and I really couldn't talk. So I ended up staying home yesterday for the first time ever. First sick day here in Chomutov. And slept. I kid you not. I went to bed around probably 10 p.m., maybe 10:30. Woke up at 7 to try to get ready for school. And my throat was in such pain and I couldn't talk that I thought, oh no, how's this going to work? You know, when you're a speaking and listening teacher and you're expected to talk for, at least 20 minutes every class. I mean, it's not like they told me 20 minutes, but you catch the drift. I was worried. So I messaged my boss and the other teachers and said, I'm really sorry I can't make it today. Thankfully, after 80 bajillion gallons of tea and lots of rest, my voice is back and here we are.
Do you feel like you're still like not fully clear? Like it's like, this could come back at any moment if I reignite my screamo career or something like that.
Exactly. I had to actually put a stop to my Czech punk metal screamo band. They were very disappointed about that.
That's so interesting though that it just came out of nowhere. Like you weren't like screaming. You didn't feel sick. Did you feel sick or anything?
I mean, like I said, I went to bed with a scratch in my throat.
Right.
But I've been feeling a little off the last couple of days. I don't know if it's just on Sunday I made the mistake of staying out literally until 8 a.m. So I've been catching up on sleep, I think, ever since then. And yeah, so who knows? And but otherwise, yeah, life is good. Currently looking into career options after Chomutov, which makes me sad, but also a little excited to see what's around the corner.
You've got like 3 months left.
I know.
Is that right?
Yeah.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months
Wow.
left. It's hard to believe. It really does.
I'm glad that I've been part of that entire journey from all the way over here in Philadelphia. Who knows where I'll be in a few months? I could be anywhere.
That's true.
But yeah, I want to talk about it, but I don't know how much I'm supposed to say. But I'll tell you this: it is a weird sort of feeling to just be waiting, like waiting for that call because it could have happened to anyone. It happened to a few of my coworkers as well.
Right.
And it's like a weird thing to just be like, okay, I mean, I showed up like it was a normal day, and now like, this is my last day here, and I'm not freaking out yet, but it is just this weird sort of like looming sort of like, you gotta do this,
right?
Like you gotta get a new job. But I'm not freaking out yet. I got a little bit of a cushion, so I'll be okay for a while. But other than that, I'm trying to think. No, I don't have anything else to say. That's it. It's been a weird couple of days. But if you don't have anything else to say, we might as well spread a little love.
Absolutely. Do you have any shout-outs for today?
Yeah, I have one, and it comes from Vietnam. Have you heard of this? Three boys in a high school called, they go to a high school that's the Thang Long Gifted High School in Dalat City in Vietnam. And they spent 6 months on an experimentation of a device that connects to your bicycle that doesn't require you to wear one of those anti-pollution masks, because Vietnam does have a pollution issue. It has an air filter that I think, I'll explain to you. The device, which is installed on the handlebar, has an air filter and a battery. The filter uses 3 layers of cotton and activated carbon fabric to capture the dust. The filter is linked to small fans installed on both sides of the front wheel, which are connected to the existing bicycle. It blows clean air. Oh shit! I just lost my spot. Into the cyclist's face. This is kind of funny just to imagine, as well as charges the battery on which it runs by pedaling. And so these are just high school kids. And apparently, this device could filter up to 86% of dust and 63% of nitrogen oxide, and it just blows this clean air into your face. And their physics teacher is confident that it's a reliable result and that it can be used in different locations and cities around the world. And they won a prize, so, shout out to them. Second place, I want to know what first place was.
Right, no kidding.
Like, really? That's all? You made a device that blows pollution out of your face? Okay. The second prize in the academic year's National Technical and Scientific Competition for high school students. So I think it's cool, especially since a lot of this anti-pollution stuff seems to be coming from kids that are very aware of the realities of what their future could look like, especially in a place like Vietnam, where it's a big problem. And they have these little pictures of people with bicycles with red air, representing the dirty air, going into the bottom, and then blowing out fresh blue
air.
Yeah. So shout out to those guys. That's cool. They're high school.
So can I know, right? Can I ask Jared, is it like a windshield? Like, how does it work?
No, it kind of looks like a toaster with a fan on the top of it.
Okay.
And it's connected to the handlebars, as they say. And it literally, I mean, I don't have a good look at it, but from what I'm seeing here, I would say it kind of looks like the shape and size of a toaster with a little funnel blowing air in your face on it. Okay. So maybe if they can really get this thing going right, they could also make it like it can cool you off in those hot Vietnamese days.
There you go. I think it's safe to say it definitely has the untranslatable stamp of approval. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. So I thought that was cool, and I always love to see like people so young making these like coming up with these inventions. And I was like, man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing, man. Whether or not a lot of people out there agree with this, they are our future. So I really hope we do have a lot of smart, intuitive, inventative kids out there.
Right.
That will hopefully make the world a better place, especially when you and I are old farts. We'll definitely need it.
And a lot of the people that, on our walkers will have little toaster fans on our...
Perfect.
And a lot of the people that are like so claiming that this is not an issue are also going to be dead by the time it is an issue. So it's like, who cares what you have to think? If you're so convinced, you live your life in denial, and you won't get a toaster. You know, you won't get a fresh air toaster, which I don't think they call it.
Probably not. Probably not. Well, Jared, on that same vein, I have a shout out to Germany, or Deutschland, as they like to call themselves, for dropping the amount of greenhouse gas emissions by 4.2% in 2018, which has been the first major decrease in Europe's biggest economy in 4 years. They say a lot of it's due to warm weather, but I think also a lot of it has to do with how Germany has been using renewable energy and has been also, because of the warmer weather, it's reduced the need for heating fuel. But with that said, I think Germany tends to be one of the leading countries in terms of trying to be green and making improvements. And what's interesting is overall emissions in Germany last year, so 2018, were 30.6% lower than in 1990. And then by this year, the German government is aiming to cut them by 40%. And their goal by 2038 is to phase out the burning of coal for electricity.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. And it's cool. Yeah, it's cool to see the progress actually happening. I'm going to say you've actually kind of convinced me of this more than anything. I kind of feel like now that it's just putting a Band-Aid on stuff, but hey, I'll take a Band-Aid over just gushing blood coming out of my arm.
That's probably a good call.
Spread a little love. So I think that's cool. That's cool. Do you have any more?
Yes, I have two more. My next one goes out to 50 Cent.
No,
because,
that can't be
right. Because 50 Cent, also known as Curtis, well, no one knows him as Curtis Jackson, but Curtis Jackson, he has sold his 21-bedroom mansion, the 50,000 square foot property located in Farmington, Connecticut, sold for $2.9 million, and he has given all of that money, $2.9 million, to charity.
Damn. All right. Spread a little love. Take it back. That's that's. Do you know what the charity is by any chance?
I'm trying to find it right now. I think I believe it's to his own foundation. The G Unity Foundation. Or wait, nope, just kidding. The rapper seemingly changed his mind, however, and decided to donate $2.9 million to the charity instead. No, so it is the G Unity Foundation. Was launched to focus on improving the lifestyles and opportunities for underserved and low-income communities across the United States.
Well, that's cool. I like that. It's not that I don't like 50 Cent, but he always seems to be doing some I'm unemployed now. Some fuckery. I'm always slightly shaking my head at him. But I'm not gonna disagree with that. That's great.
I mean, one of the funniest things, though, I think 50 Cent ever did was he apparently bought out the first 30 rows of a Ja Rule concert. So when Ja Rule
30?
The first 30 rows.
I thought it was 3.
No, the first 30 rows. 3 wouldn't be that big a deal. 30 rows, though, if you think about it, when you come out on stage and you look out, you know, with those lights on your face, you're not going to see anybody. Usually the only people you see is in the first, you know, maybe 30 rows. And so, yeah.
Oh, my God. That's the sort of pettiness where I'm like, what are you doing, 50 Cent? I mean, it's hilarious. Right. But I'm almost like, come on. Like, this petty is unnecessary.
I mean, yeah, but when you're 50, you can do it, you know?
Yeah. Hey, listen, if I were near billionaire, I might consider doing some stupid shit like that.
Right, for sure. All right, so my last shout out goes out to a very special woman in Chicago. Have you heard what's been going down in Chicago?
I have not.
So Chicago has just elected their first black openly LGBTQ woman as mayor. So a big shout out to Lori Lightfoot, who is a lawyer and is also the former president of the Chicago Police Board, who defeated Cook County Board President Tony, kid you not, Preckwinkle, weird last name, on Tuesday to become the next mayor of the Windy City. She will succeed to Rahm Emanuel, Chicago's two-term mayor and former chief of staff to President Barack Obama. So yeah, and what Lori Lightfoot said is, I'm very humbled and honored. I'm going to do everything I can to earn it. She said with her victory, people have a hope for a new beginning. So, you know, she seems like a great woman. I really wish her the best of luck, and hopefully she can really do some great things for the Windy City.
Lori Lightfoot. Lightfoot, strong morals.
That's right.
Slipping on gator pits. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. I like to see more of that happening. Speaking of, by the way, Chicago, did we mention that Jussie Smollett got acquitted off of everything?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's. I think he has to do maybe he has to donate some more money or something, or pay something. But he's no jail time or anything like that. He's just a free man.
What was the deal with all that? I never really understood what was happening with that.
Oh well, he called the police and claimed that 2 white dudes with face masks and MAGA hats. This was during the polar vortex in Chicago, by the way. Attacked him at night in Chicago, where he lives, and they put a noose around his neck and poured bleach on his face and said, "This is MAGA country," and called him all sorts of N-words, and he's gay, so all sorts of homophobic terms. And it seems like, listen, I'm no lawyer, I'm no police officer, I'm not Jussie with a U. It seems like he was lying, and it seems like he hired 2 people that he's sort of worked with on his show and that are trainers in a gym that happen to be Nigerian people. American, but people have been saying that they're Nigerian, but I think they're American, but with Nigerian backgrounds. I think they say the Nigerian to highlight the blackness. And so they're saying it seems like we have video of them buying all these materials. We have proof that you wrote a check to them for like a couple $1,000.
Damn.
And we have no proof of these maggots coming to do this to you. And so he has been charged with, I think 16, if not more, counts of obstruction of justice and false reports and all that stuff. And he got let free, acquitted of them just a couple days ago, or a week or so ago. And he's essentially a free man now. And people want answers, but they're not going to get them. So,
right, that's life.
Yeah.
That is life.
And it's a very curious story, but if I'm Jussie, I'm in my house dancing right now.
Right, no kidding. This did not go as planned, but it also did not go as bad as it could have gone. Right. Yeah, for sure.
That's the rough story of Jussie Smollett told by me.
Okay.
So, take it with a grain of salt.
Nice. Well, Jared, do you happen to know what time it is?
I always know what time it is. I keep my clock accurate, and I keep my untranslatable owl set for Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
I'd say that thing's more accurate than a Rolex.
F Rolex. That's what the untranslatable owl is saying through its cuckoos or bills or beaks. I guess they probably have beaks.
I think.
So I have two untranslatables. The first one is yet another Georgian untranslatable, which our episode today is about alphabets and scripts, is I think a better word for it.
Yep.
You think I would have looked up what the Georgian script is called since I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow, that looks cool. The Georgian script are 3 writing systems write the Georgian language. Oh, I can't even pronounce it, so never mind. We'll get back to that later. Mze Piers Ibans, which literally translates to the sun washes her face. And the reason I brought this one up is because I would say it's very familiar to the Untranslatable podcast.
I don't know what to do with that information now.
The sun washes her face. You wash your face with water.
Uh-huh. So it's like something that happens naturally? Or no, if it washes... No, it's not dries its face, but washes her face, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Can you give me a clue? One of your examples.
Anything I would say would give it away pretty immediately.
Too obvious. Okay,
so let's think about it. Let's think about it. As you mentioned, it's daylight savings time there in Czech Republic. It's been daylight savings time here for a while. It's been sunnier for a long time. And, we be walking outside at 7 o'clock. It's a lovely day. We have a T-shirt on for the first time this entire season. Next thing you know, the sun is washing her face.
Oh, does it mean it gets cloudy?
It means the devil is beating his wife.
Aha! So it's sunny and it's raining. All right.
Yes. So the the Georgians say the sun washes her face, which in my mind makes perfect sense. But
that
in
does
your mind,
make
I would
perfect
say,
sense.
I don't think
now I get it.
No, that's the thing about the untranslatables, though, is like you kind of have to work it out in your head, and if you're not on the right track, then you won't get it. But as soon as you hear it, it's like, how did I not think of that?
Right. Oh, for sure.
That's what the Georgians say.
For sure. Also, on an unrelated note, I think we should do an episode sometime about weather expressions in foreign languages. That would be really interesting, I think. Anyways, so today I tried to do something different with my untranslatables. I do have a Czech one, fear not. But
Parada.
I thought it would be cool to find some untranslatables with different alphabets or scripts. So I have a Russian one and I have an Arabic one. So,
and I had a Georgian one. We got a couple scripts on there.
There we go. And I have a Czech one as well. Also a different script than all of those. So here we go. So the Russian one is, let me get my Russian accent ready.
Пожалуйста.
Vyshalapye, which means the job is in the hat.
Oh, it's like taken care of. Job well done. I did it. Done.
Yep, exactly. The job was in the hat for you, Jared, when you were explaining that untranslatable.
Oh, I thought you meant when I got laid off yesterday. You're done.
How insensitive.
Your job here is done. It's in the hat. Now your badge no longer works. My next one is French-Canadian from Quebec, and it is revers en couleur, which you probably know what couleur means.
Is that color?
There you go. Dreaming in color. No, it's not drug related, you weirdo.
Dreaming in color. Is that kind of like when your head's in the clouds, like you're daydreaming, you're
almost there.
Okay.
You're close. It's a little more offensive than that. Where it's like, I mentioned at the beginning of the show if we could just quickly up the reviews by 1,000 to 5,000%. Some people might say that I'm dreaming in color.
So it's
thinking
like
that I could do
over-exaggerating something.
Delusional. Yeah.
Okay.
Parada.
Yeah, delusional.
Nice. All right, so I'll give you the Arabic one next. This is the cool thing about Arabic. There are a lot of one-word things that we cannot say in English with one word. So this is one of them. So the Arabic word is tarab. And let me describe to you what tarab is, Jared, and then I think you can guess it. So lately, I don't know why, but I've been on quite a country music kick, and I've been listening to this artist suggested by my good buddy David, named Sturgill Simpson. And
yeah, I'm familiar.
You've heard of Sturgill?
Yeah, he has a son or father that also is a famous. Nope, I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
But yeah, I'm familiar with Sturgill Simpson as well. I've heard the name. I'm not a country listener, but I know the name.
He has a tiny desk concert, by the way, on NPR that's definitely worth a listen.
I'll check it out.
But anyways, so sometimes there's a really good song that he has called Turtles All the Way Down. And sometimes when I listen to this song, it just kind of puts me in this happy place, you know? So I would say that Sturgill's music definitely can take me to Tarab.
To your happy place? Is Tarab like your happy place?
I mean, it's musically induced state of ecstasy.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay. I think something that does that to me is like the Hiatus Coyote albums.
Oh, for sure.
Recently, you know what's been doing that to me is I mentioned that based off of your recommendation.
Mac Miller?
Yes.
Yeah.
That album, Swimming, has been on repeat. And, listening to it now, post how I know his life turned out, adds so much more to that album for me, where it's like, it's very intense emotionally.
For sure. I gotta say, man, I was listening to it on loop as well, but now it makes me think of him and it kind of makes me sad.
It makes me sad too, but I kind of like getting sad. I'm a weirdo.
Fair enough. I'm sure there's an untranslatable out there that there's a word for that, to like getting sad or making yourself sad.
Well, there is. Oh, that's taking joy in someone else's sadness. I was thinking
Schadenfreude. Yeah,
which I enjoy that too. I'll have a funny story about that. I'll tell you off mic, but yeah. So I love those untranslatables. We got 3 different scripts in there. That was pretty good.
Yep.
Russian.
Are you ready for the 4th?
We got 4 because we got Latin in there as well. I forgot our own.
Our own.
Yeah, because mine was using the Latin script. French uses the Latin script.
Duh, exactly. And I have one more for you. I have a Czech one. We haven't gotten to the Czech one yet. And this is už ani slovo, which means not another word.
Not another word. Which means like post haste, like I'll do this right away.
No.
Oh. I thought I was being tricky, not going for like the obvious.
Go for the obvious.
Not another word. Shut up.
Basically, yeah. Apparently, už ani slovo means not another word, and is an expression parents often use when trying to get their children to stop arguing.
Oh, I've heard that a lot as a kid, actually.
Right?
Yeah. No. Okay.
I don't know about your mom, but my mom always pulled the, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Nah, that didn't really come from my parents because they'd spend a lot of time saying not nice things. They sometimes listen to this. That's slipping on gator piss. Kind of not true. Yeah, no, I got a version of that. Yeah. Well, there you go. 4 scripts.
It was probably your slipping on gator piss, wasn't it?
Maybe. Easy, you're slipping on gator piss. Oh, God. Yeah, there you go. 4 scripts, all in our untranslatable segment. That was cool. So, how many scripts are you familiar with? We can go through some of the most popular ones. There are a lot, by the way.
There are a ton, but before we do that, I would like to. Some of our listeners out there might be wondering, what is an alphabet? Obviously, it's pretty clear, but I'd like to explain it. So, alphabets, or depending on the script or the language, or phonemic alphabets, which are ones that sound like they're written, are sets of letters, usually arranged in a fixed order, which is kind of funny because the order is completely arbitrary, right?
Right.
The fact that we have A as our first letter doesn't really change anything. And then obviously each of these letters represents a phoneme or sound, consonants and vowels in the language that they are used to write. And some combinations of the letters are used to represent single phonemes, as in the English sh, sh, ch, ch, and th, the, or th, I guess. What's interesting, though, is the Greeks created the first phonemic alphabet. When they adapted the Phoenician alphabet to write Greek, they used a number of Phoenician letters that represented consonant sounds not present in Greek to write Greek vowels. Now, Jared, do you actually happen to know where the word alphabet comes from?
I do. I do, which is interesting because it doesn't really make any sense. It comes from Greek. Their alphabet starts with the Greek version of A and B, I guess I would say, which is alpha, beta. And so we use a different alphabet to name our own alphabet.
Right. Yeah, alphabetum, which is like you said, the first two letters of the Greek alphabet, which is pretty crazy. And those letters were also based on Phoenician letter names. The Phoenician alphabets are Aleph, Ox, and Beth, which means house. So kind of weird.
Do you remember having to learn the Greek alphabet when we joined our fraternity?
I do.
How much of it can you do right now?
Oh, God, not very much. But see, here's the thing. I know if I see the letters, I know what they are. But I used to have it on spot. What?
I can't
Alpha,
even think of the third one.
Alpha, beta, gamma. Is epsilon next? Alpha, beta, gamma, epsilon.
I'll pull it up.
Sigma's somewhere in there. There's a chi in there. I'm not going in order. Hey, the order is arbitrary, okay?
That's true.
There's a rho, there's a phi.
There is a rho. The rho looks like a B. I remember that.
Yep. There's a mu.
Here we go. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon,
Delta,
theta, eta,
duh. I should have known that.
theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mu, nu, z,
rho. Yeah? Is rho? Oh, damn.
Omicron, pi, then rho. Rho's not a B, it's a P. Sigma, tau, epsilon. That sounds like a fraternity. It probably is.
I think Sigma Tau Epsilon is a fraternity, yeah.
I think that might be a black fraternity. Phi, Chi, Psi, Omega.
There we go. It's interesting Omega is the last one.
Yeah. Chad, you are my alpha and omega.
I'm your first and your last, huh?
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Jared. Now, Jared, I'm curious, what do you think is the best known and most widely used alphabet?
I'm going to say the one that backs the greatest language on earth. The Latin alphabet?
Yes. Well, there's two. It's the Latin alphabet, Latin or Roman, depending on who you ask, but also the Cyrillic alphabet, which has been adapted to write numerous languages, most being some type of Russian or Slavic language. Interestingly, though, Czech does not use a Cyrillic alphabet. Neither does Polish. I know Bulgarian does. I'm not sure which other languages. Obviously, Russian uses it.
Bulgarian, as you mentioned to me last episode, they're the originators of it.
That's right. They're the OGs of the Cyrillic alphabet.
So since we're talking about Greek, let's talk a little bit more about Greek. The Greek alphabet has a long history, of course. It started in the 9th century BC, or BCE, as the atheists say. It was the first alphabet to use a vowel. And I'm wondering back then how they even differentiating between a vowel and a consonant? How is that even a thing? Aren't they all just letters? It kind of shocks me the level of complexity they had back then that hasn't really changed much in centuries.
Right. Well, it hasn't had to change. We still only really use vowels and consonants when we talk.
That's true. What else would there be? I mean, how would I know? I'm not.
I mean, clicks. You know, like Xhosa has clicks in African languages, and I don't know how they write those.
So would say something like some languages that have more like sounds, would that be something different than a consonant or a vowel? Or would that just be a cluster of consonants?
It might be. I think that might be a consonant cluster. I also wonder too, though, different, like Czech has what they call hard and soft sounds. So in Czech you have like an R, a R, but then you have the R, which is the R with the háček over it. And then you have a Z, which is a Z, and you have a Z with the háček, which is a Ž, an S, and then an S with a háček, which is Sh.
Well, in English we have hard and soft as well. If you were to be like with vowels though, only with vowels, right? Where it's like A or A or U or oo, I guess. I don't know. O or A. for example.
Right.
The O is considered long.
What's bad about our alphabet system, though, with American English is it's really inconsistent. You know, you really have to know the words in the context. And usually, like, I always feel bad when teachers make foreign language learners read English texts out loud if they're beginners. Because half the words they don't know how to pronounce because this is probably the first, second, or third time they've seen them.
Right.
And so, you know, especially if there's words with past tense like read and read, spelled the same way, how do you know that they're pronounced differently?
Dude, I make that mistake all the time, and I think I'm a pretty good reader.
Right.
Like, I'll constantly like be reading a sentence and be like, oh wait, no, they mean past tense here. Like, just read it and say read, and they'll be like, oh no, that doesn't make any sense. I think they mean past tense. I do that all the time.
Right.
Or another example of that is lead versus lead.
Yep.
That gets real confusing because there's lead, and then there's lead spelled the same way if you're talking about the metal. But if you're talking about lead as in leading, like you're leading someone past tense, that's L-E-D. Right. Why, English speakers?
It makes no sense.
We're not the only ones that are trying way too hard to confuse people. The Greeks, they are known for having the longest word in literature.
Really? What word is that?
I mean, I'm not going to say it. One, because I can't read their their script, and guess how many letters are in it?
50.
Shit.
Was I right?
That's nothing.
No, that's not 100.
Shit. Try tripling the first number you said and adding 21 to it.
171?
171 letters. And it's...
Wow.
I'm looking at it right now, and it's funny to me because it's, you know, obviously all Greek to me. By the way, that's an untranslatable for saying I don't understand anything. There's a little extra untranslatable for you. You know what? Now that I'm looking at it, what I'm about to say didn't even make any sense. I was going to say, but within there is Otto, but then I realized that the first TT is pi. So there you go. Says. But yeah, 171 letters, and it was written in a Greek play called Assembly Woman in 391 BC. So, you know, I don't know how to do the math of how long that was ago, but centuries and centuries ago, thousands of years ago.
Right.
This guy had the record, and he's holding on to it.
I can see that.
So shout out to Aristophanes.
Okay, nice. Well, Jared, do you remember we talked about a really long word when we were in Berlin together, and we met those the Swiss people?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you have that? You know
I have it pulled up. I have it pulled up.
Well,
yes.
I know what it means. It's the fear of very long words. Ironically.
Yes. Yes. So this is one of the longest words in the English dictionary, and in an ironic twist, it is the name of the fear for long words. I'm going to try to say it. We'll see. It's. I'm looking at this, and this is just unreal.
Slipping on gator piss.
Hippopotomonstrosis quipedaliophobia. There's nothing you can do with stupid people.
That's not what I meant to play, but it's just as good. Yeah, which is just it's weird. So hippo, do you know what like that means? Does that mean big? I wonder if it does.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean the hippocampus. I would imagine so. I would think it means big. And it's also for our listeners out there, it's also pretty much the same, just pronounced differently in French. So phobia, it's phobie.
Well, yeah, because the Swiss people, they said it, and I was like, I feel like we have a word that's very close to that in English, and we looked it up, and it was essentially the exact same thing.
Yep.
Just with some Englishicized.
But see, that's also why English is such a messed up alphabet in terms of not being phonetic, because we steal so many words from other languages, and we don't have the same system. You know, we don't have accent marks in English like they do in French. We don't have umlauts like they do in German. Right, exactly. So it makes a big difference. But yeah, I have to say, though, I like the way that the Greek alphabet looks. I think it looks cool. I don't know if it was because we were in a fraternity or what it was, but I like the way the Greek alphabet looks.
I like the way the Bulgarian, I keep saying Bulgarian, the Georgian Cyrillic alphabet looks.
Oh, Georgian, okay.
Yes, it looks similar to, like it's very, it's not like the Greek one is more angular to me in its construction. The Georgian one is more, and I think the Georgian alphabet is an alphabet of its own, if I'm not mistaken. The Georgian script, like it's originally I think it's its own thing.
Okay.
They say Kartvelian, but I think Georgian might be its own thing. Anyway, can I just name some of the most popular scripts in order?
Absolutely.
I mean, you know what number 1 is.
Latin.
It's exactly, which is used for any sort of alphabet that's similar to the English one, the ABC sort of alphabet.
Right. So some languages would be what? German, English, French, Spanish. Would Swedish and a lot of those Scandinavians also count?
I'm not sure.
Because
I'll tell you.
I mean, because it looks similar, but I wonder how you classify languages with the different characters. Like Danish has the O with the little like slice through it. That's clearly the scientific linguistic term. O with the little slice through it.
Well, it's kind of the same with Czech as well. Like, do they use the Latin alphabet? Is that what they call it?
Right. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Alphabet is based on the 26-letter Latin alphabet. However, the Swedish alphabet has 29 letters to it.
Right.
So they have their own, which I think mostly is covering those vowels because it contains 20 consonants and 9 vowels.
Which makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense because the vowels in the Latin alphabet, we have a lot of different sounds for A, E, I, O, U, right? And so you need to make those other symbols in other languages. I'm really surprised that English doesn't have that. I think it would make our lives easier.
Right, if it's telling you what the sound is rather than you having to use like context clues to figure it out.
Exactly.
You've as a language teacher, you've spent most of your time teaching people using a version of the Latin alphabet. I remember learning the French alphabet, learning the German alphabet, and it's relatively similar to English, just instead of A, for example, it's A.
Right.
Or instead of double V, it's double V or whatever, which is just double V. And so my question is for you, you've had to teach the English alphabet to students, right? Is that a challenge, or because most of the people you're teaching are using the similar alphabet, is it a pretty simple exercise?
Well, that's a great question because I've actually taught students from Ukraine, from Japan, from China, from languages where they don't share the same alphabet. And those students, I didn't have to teach them the alphabet, but we did do some word association activities with letters so they could kind of get the hang of spelling. Because I think spelling can definitely be difficult if you're coming from a different alphabet than the Latin alphabet. I will tell you, though, I have also taught children who are learning English. And for them, it's really easy to teach the alphabet because we have the alphabet song.
Right.
That alphabet song goes for miles and miles. It helps the kids a lot. And there's a lot of different fun activities you can do. You can have them hold up the letters or hold up objects. Like, you teach them A is for apple, B is for book, C is for cat. And you pass out these random pictures, and then you sing the song, and then they all have to, hold up their pictures or their letters. But I've
another way to get the students engaged, by the way. Refer to our last episode. They get active.
That's right. Get them moving. That's for sure. But I was talking to my friend David because he speaks fluent Russian, and Russian has a Cyrillic alphabet, so it's very different. And he told me if you really dedicate 1 to 2 weeks of studying it, he said you can kind of get the hang of it pretty quick. And although the Czech alphabet is a Latin-based alphabet with different symbols, I have to say it didn't take me that long to get used to the different sounds in the Czech alphabet.
So how is you learned the Czech alphabet? You know it. How is their alphabet accounting for all of those different accents? Like that ruins their song.
Well, right. Well, I don't. Yeah, I didn't. That's a great question. I didn't learn the Czech alphabet via the alphabet song, so it's really hard for me to say. I don't know how it would work because, they have different. They have a sh, a zh, a r, a ch. So I'm not sure how they would do that. That's a really great question.
That's just a guess. Just a guess. So number
that's
one is the Latin alphabet. Well, I'll get back to that. And number 2's
got to be Cyrillic, right?
No.
Or is it Mandarin?
Yeah, well, it's Chinese.
Right.
Yes, 2 is Chinese. 3, what do you think 3 is?
3 is not Cyrillic?
No. Cyrillic, I'll tell you right now, is number 6.
Wow, number 6. Okay.
Yeah, but you got to think about the countries in the world. Think about, China, obviously we already mentioned. Think about India. Think about all the countries that use... I was just about to say
India. What do you call it? Sanskrit? Is that what you call it?
Well, it's not. That's not number 3 anyway.
Okay.
Think about all the countries that use the same language, but their own variation on the same language.
Oh, Arabic. Duh.
Yep.
Arabic.
There you go.
Karada.
And number 4
is Sanskrit.
No. Number 4 is Devangari, which I believe that involves the Indian languages such as Hindi.
Okay.
But I want to actually look that up. But yeah. So number 3 it does involve Hindi for sure. But it also involves a whole other slew of languages, such as, Sanskrit is part of the Devangari alphabet. So Sanskrit is in there, but it's called Devangari is what they call the alphabet. And it's got a bunch of languages that I've actually never heard of, including Hindi, as I mentioned, which is a popular language in India, Sanskrit, Pali, Awadhi, Bhojpuri, Braj, Bansa, Chhattisgarhi, Haryanvi, just to name a few. I'm not even halfway through that list. And all of those use Devangari. Number 4 is...
And that's not Cyrillic because that's 6, so I have no idea.
Think of another very popular language, also used in India, but used in many other Asian countries around there. That is Bengali.
Oh, duh. Okay. Okay.
And number 5, not your favorite. Oh, wait. Number 5 is Bengali. Number 6 is Cyrillic.
Right.
And that involves your Bulgarian, your Russian, your Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Okay. And number 7, we're only going to go through the top 10. Number 7 is Kana. Have you heard of Kana? Kana is the Japanese
so it's
system.
like kanji. Okay.
Yeah, it has 2 forms within there, and kanji is one of them. No, excuse me, it has 4. Kanji, hiragana, katakana, and romanji. And they all kind of are used together, I think.
Okay.
And Japanese, which I didn't know, is its own thing. Much like Hungarian, there's no sort of relative to Japanese. It's its own thing.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that's Kana, which is the Japanese languages. Javanese. You think
I don't even know where they speak Javanese.
I've never heard of that either. Javanese is used in central and eastern parts of the island of Java in Indonesia. So it's an Indonesian language is where it's popularly used.
Guess how many letters are in Javanese?
I think I might know. I'm going to take a guess. 40-something.
53.
Damn. Yeah, that's a lot. We actually seem to have the lowest number. Or one of the lower numbers. But as you mentioned, I think it's because we fit so much into our vowels.
Right. And too much. Our vowels do a lot of heavy lifting in the Latin alphabet.
Yes, I agree.
You know what other language has over 50 letters?
No. Who is it?
Urdu, which they speak in Pakistan. Urdu, they have 39 basic and 13 extra characters. But the interesting thing is, I actually have a friend from Pakistan, a buddy named Ghulam, and he showed me a lot of different stuff in Urdu. I used to know 10 animal words. I couldn't tell you anymore. I forgot them all. But modern day Urdu, at least what they usually use, is also the same writing system as Arabic. And the crazy thing about the Arabic system, or maybe not crazy, but the interesting thing about it, is you learn the letters by themselves, but then once you start forming words, the way the letters connect, depending on if the letter comes in the beginning of the word, the middle of the word, or the end of the word, changes.
I don't know if, I was going to bring that up, but I didn't think I fully even understand what they were saying. It seems like they were saying that a lot of, words can be grouped into, based off of 3, every sort of, I don't know how to explain the group of words, But like words that have similar meanings will be based off of 3 consonants, and then
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and then just the vowels within those 3 consonants change it. So like they were using the like writing or books, and all the words that are similar to writing and books have K, T, and B in them, and just the vowels within them change the meaning. But if you hear K, the KTB, then you know that you're going to be dealing with some form like a writing or book or something related word.
You're absolutely correct. No, that is true. Like I said, the interesting thing about Arabic is, so when you learn the alphabet, you learn the isolated word or the isolated letter, then you have to learn what it looks like in the final, in the medial, and in the initial. So meaning at the beginning, middle, and end, which I tell you what, I tend to be a patient guy, but that just seems like a whole lot to learn.
It is a lot to learn. And the dots, there are very... And what I now know, I mean, obviously they're specific, but I thought the dots were part of the words. The dots, I don't think are part. The letters, but I don't think they are. I think they represent, like they have different,
a connection.
Yes, yes. So where the dot is in relation to that letter can give you a different word.
Yep, exactly.
And I'm trying to fight the urge to say how difficult all of these sound, because I think we're as Latin alphabet users, I think that's such a cop-out thing to say, because I think that in theory it seems like a lot, especially as English speakers, but I think in theory a lot of these sort systems logically, if we were to actually sit down and think about them without being sort of plagued by our knowledge of our alphabet, make a lot more sense than ours would. Ours might be easier to learn because it's the least amount of letters, but as far as applying it, I think other ones tend to make a lot more sense. And the Arabic alphabet consists of 28 letters. And you're right. It's Arabic is obviously a very gigantic language used in a bunch of countries, but the Arabic is not really, it's a language, but it's also an alphabet. Those are kind of 2 separate things.
Right.
And the Arabic alphabet is used for Urdu, Persian/Farsi, which are 2 very similar languages.
Yep.
Pashto and Kurdish.
Yep.
So all of those are not Arabic languages, but they use the Arabic alphabet, which has 28 letters.
Very good, buddy. You did your homework.
I did my homework.
You know what language has less letters, though, than the Latin alphabet?
Oh, I don't. I didn't do all my homework.
Hebrew only has 22 letters.
Interesting. So
I wonder if they only, and I'm not a Hebrew speaker, so if anybody listening to this is a Hebrew speaker, let us know, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com or untranslatablepodcast on Instagram. How do the vowels work in Hebrew? Because if you only have 22 letters, I'm assuming they only have certain vowel sounds. Now, I could be wrong. As I said, I don't know anything about Hebrew, but I would imagine if you only have 22 letters, it seems like those letters have to do either you have specific sounds that do not exist within your language, which I'm sure there are some, but because I think generally speaking, languages that tend to have more letters, not always, but tend to have more letters, I would like to think they probably have more sounds that are created within the language. I mean, that's probably a logical assumption, right?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Let me see if I can try to understand this just by off of a quick paragraph that I quickly Googled on Wikipedia. The Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters. It does not have case, but 5 letters have different forms when used at the end of the word. Hebrew is written from right to left. We'll get to that, by the way. Originally, the alphabet was an abjad consisting of only consonants, but is now considered an impure, that's a hilarious way to say it, impure abjad, as if the vowels ruined the language.
Right. Vowels totally ruin the language, Jared, let's be real.
As with other abjads, such as the Arabic alphabet, during centuries-long use, scribes devised means of indicating vowel sound by separating vowel points, known in Hebrew as nikud. In both biblical and rabbinic Hebrew, the letters, I don't know what they are, they're obviously not my alphabet, can also function as, as mattress I got way too deep quickly. Which is when certain consonants are used to indicate vowels. So they have symbols that turn consonants into vowels.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. Interesting.
And so modern Hebrew, there is a trend in modern Hebrew towards the use of matres lectionis to indicate vowels that has traditionally gone unwritten. So a lot of that I think is just kind of assumed based off of the word. But now they're slowly, it seems like, working that in as as actual letters.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
You know what's also interesting about Hebrew and Arabic? Although their alphabets are very different, depending on the dialect of Arabic you speak, Hebrew and Arabic as languages are actually not that different. There's a lot of cognates.
I kind of got nervous to bring it up because I feel like either our Arabic or Hebrew listeners would get mad.
Well, I think it's safe to say that if you look at where Hebrew and Arabic began, they began in very close quarters. So I think it makes sense that they are similar. They're definitely not the same language, but I've watched some videos of some polyglots on YouTube, and it's really interesting. There was a video of a guy who was a Hebrew speaker and a guy who was an Arabic speaker, and they were saying words, and they weren't the same, but they were very close. I think close enough to the point where if you heard those words either in context or back to back like on the video, you can definitely see a lot of similarities.
I might be wrong, but it seems like, let me start by saying that. This is no longer actual stuff I've researched. This has turned into Jared meme news. I feel like both, the reason for that similarity is that both of these languages have strong biblical ties.
Uh-huh.
And those religions have similar originations, and obviously from similar areas.
Right.
So that kind of would make sense. So we mentioned, that there are alphabets with 22 letters, 26 letters, 28, 40-something, 50-something. Our friends in China are laughing at us. They're like,
oh, for sure.
Okay.
Right.
Do you know how many characters there are in the Chinese language?
Aren't there I want to say 1,000.
Over 20,000, bro.
20,000.
Commonly, there are about... I thought I wrote that down. Oh, yeah, okay. Commonly, they use about 2,500.
Okay.
But there are actually 20,000.
Now, my question is, for anyone, especially if we have any listeners out there who are learning Mandarin or Chinese, how do you even learn the characters? Because it's, with languages that aren't character languages but script languages, I think you can kind of base it off of the context depending on if you're reading it, right? You can't really, sounds are pretty arbitrary. Sound doesn't really tell you what it is. If I say book, if you have never spoken English in your life, you'll have no idea what book means, right? But it just blows, I'm thinking of native Chinese speakers who they pick up a newspaper and do they know all the it blows my mind. It completely blows my mind.
I mean, it's not like your average Chinese person can just list off all 20,000 distinct characters or even probably the 2,500 common ones. But that's the thing, is they don't even have an alphabet. It doesn't work like that.
So how do you know how to say it?
Where do you start? Yeah, where do you start? How do you pick up on it other than common words that you probably come across all the time? How do you and also it's so much of it is tone based and inflection based. I'm with you. I'm just gonna repeat what you said. How do you do it?
Right.
It consists of thousands of standalone characters. However, Chinese can be transcribed into Roman characters using something called pinyin.
Pinyin. I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Oh, are you familiar with that?
Yeah. So I have a few friends of mine from grad school that spent time in China and also in Taiwan. And they, both of them spoke really good. Well, I have no idea how good it was, but to me it seemed really good because they were having conversations with visiting scholars from China, and it seemed like they were doing it pretty flawlessly. And they also showed me how to write some characters. But that's the thing, man. Pinyin is a big help from what I've heard. If you are coming from a Latin or Roman alphabetic language, Pinyin is really, really helpful for you. But at the same time, although that will help you with the sound, that still is not going to help you at all with the meaning.
Right. That's very true. Did you know that the Chinese writing system is one of the oldest? It's not the oldest.
What's the oldest?
Pretty old. I'm not going to comment on that only because The oldest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the oldest still in use is.
Oh, that's a good call.
So I did come across the oldest, but it's that's not used anymore. And there's a lot of argument on what's the line between sort of symbolism versus an alphabet. As when you go back to things such as like the hieroglyphics in Egypt or Mayan/Aztec cultures, where I think there is legitimate debate on are they using symbols or have they developed their own alphabet? Which I think there are language and alphabet scientists that would have debates on what it is.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm neither a science nor a alphabet expert, which is why we're here just talking about it like we know what we're talking about.
That's right.
So we mentioned I mentioned right to left. There are a good number of languages that go right to left. Latin, we using the Latin language, go left to right. So we read starting on the left side and go across the other way. Some go the opposite way.
Right. Arabic is one.
Yes, however, Arabic does go right to left with letters. But if you're writing numbers are left to right.
Really?
So it's kind of like German, actually. I mean, in the sense that when you're writing it, you would put you'd put it, I guess, what we consider the normal way, which is, say, 46.
The normal way. I'm putting that in air quotes.
Yeah, so 46, they would write 4-6, even though they're going the other way.
46.
So if you were looking at it our way, if you were reading it our way, it would say 46, even though everything else would be technically going the other way.
Gotcha.
Aramaic is another one. Azeri, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, you have. Azeri? Azerbaijan? Rahman?
Oh. I thought they spoke Russian there.
I mean, most Azeris can speak Russian, but they have their own language. Azeri.
Oh, okay. Okay. Dievehi, which is Maldivian, or Hebrew, Kurdish, Persian, Urdu, which all makes sense because those are all Arabic-based languages.
Right.
Not all. The last couple I said, Kurdish, Persian, and Urdu.
Are they Arabic? Are you sure they're Arabic-based?
They use the Arabic alphabet. That's what I
see what you're saying.
That's a little kind of different, I guess.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Bold
Slipping on
claims.
gator piss. Although I do remember when I lived in Germany, I had friends from Korea and Japan. Both of them, both of those languages go right to left as well as the Chinese language. Right. And it would blow my mind watching them read stuff. Like I had a lot of people from there that were huge anime fans, surprisingly, and it was just interesting to like see it, just to, obviously I didn't know what it was saying, but just to see it, and I constantly would wonder, like, how do you know what that is? But there's no way to ask that and get the answer I'm looking for, especially in middle or high school, where the people reading it barely know why they know how to.
Right.
Like,
it just is how it is. Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, why do you know A, B, C, D? It's like, that's a good question. It's like, oh, I know why. It's a great song associated with it.
That's right. Remix.
That's another one. Did we talk about? Oh, we did talk about that. Yeah, that's this is probably one of the not most researched, but I think I learned the most in this episode that I have in any episode I've ever done.
Oh, nice. you know what's interesting about the Korean language? I had a few Korean students in one of my German classes when I was still at MSU, and they were explaining to me that the way Korean's written, you can actually tell like what the vowels are somehow. Like they explained it to me. It was a quick 5-minute explanation, so I didn't really grasp it fully. But I think it's interesting that Korean is also a character language, but apparently there are ways you can read the words.
Well, I'm just looking at the Korean alphabet right now, and I'm going to take a wild guess, which is always a good idea.
Right, great idea.
I'm looking. They have it split into vowels and consonants, and I'm looking at the vowels, and they are doubles. Like it's. So say the symbol for G looks like a backwards 7, which it does. I mean, kind of.
Okay.
The vowel. Excuse me. I'm looking at the wrong section. Take back what I just said. However, I do have an explanation for it. It's all based off of the direct. So every vowel has a single horizontal or vertical line. And then from there, it's based off of the direction that lines go off of it. So there's one, say, vertical line for an A, father, the A in father.
Right.
It's a vertical line with one horizontal line going to the right of it. Ya has the same vertical line with two horizontal lines going off of it. Saw, AW, same horizontal line with the
interesting. Okay.
With the line going off of it in the other direction to the left rather than to the right. Yeo has two lines going the same direction as the ah from saw, and so on and so forth. So O has a horizontal line with one vertical line pointing off of it, but if you were to go to yo, has the same look as O, but with two vertical lines going off the top of it. So it's looking at it right now, it makes sense to me.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
I get it.
It's really crazy to me how different cultures and countries come up with different forms of alphabets. You know, and you know what the biblical story is about it, right?
No, but I'm very curious.
So the biblical story was that man, and I think this is from the Christian Bible, so just a heat of warning to our people of other faiths listening here. But apparently the story in the Christian Bible is basically that man wanted to build, a way up to heaven. And they became so close that God decided that this isn't good, that we all, if all of man can understand every other man, they can work together and achieve anything.
You didn't think about that beforehand?
Beats me, man. Okay, I didn't write the Bible. Just trying to explain it.
God's an interesting guy.
Let me see here. Hold up. Let me double check this here. But Bible story of why we speak different languages. Here we go. Good old Google coming to the rescue. The Tower of Babel. There we go.
I've heard that before.
Yes. So God made people speak many different languages so they could not work together on building the city and the Tower of Babel to reach heaven. So it is told in Genesis 11-19 is an origin.
Chapter 11, verse 1 through 9.
Thank you. Chapter 11, verse 1 through 9. Sorry. Is an origin myth meant to explain why the world's people speak different languages. According to the story, a united humanity in the generations following would be able to reach heaven. Therefore, God created different languages. But although it's a biblical story, I think it is fascinating that, can you imagine if we did all speak the same language and shared the same alphabet? How crazy would that be?
Yeah, it almost seems like too much. Like, especially in the age of social media, I feel like it's helpful that we can't understand what everyone's saying.
Right. Might be a good thing.
Can I finish this off with some Jared's fun facts about our own alphabet?
Of course. Absolutely.
Alphabet?
Absolutely.
What is the most commonly used letter in the English alphabet?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was told this today by a student of mine. It is the letter E.
Which makes perfect sense to me. Okay. I think E might be one of the most versatile letters out there in our language.
Right.
There's the whole I before E thing. There's the E at the end of a sentence can change what the vowel before that means. Yeah, so that makes sense to me.
And it's also in the word the, which is all over the English language. The. Can I give you a little Chad's fun fact related to your E?
Пожалуйста.
There's a book, not related to The Great Gatsby, but there's a book called Gatsby, which was a 1939 novel by Ernest Vincent Wright, which was written as a lipogram. Jared, do you know what a lipogram is?
I do not.
So a lipogram is a book or any type of literature that does not contain a certain letter. So Gatsby is a lipogram that does not include the letter E in the entire book, and I think it's over 100 pages long. It's 260 pages, does not have one single letter E, which means... I wonder if
it's a good book.
I don't know, but which means, how do you write an entire book without using the?
Yeah.
I guess you have to use a or an, or not, or use plurals or something, but yeah, isn't that wild? 260 pages, you will not find the letter E in the book Gatsby.
This guy's got way too much time on his hand. Because, I mean, he didn't do it for any other reason, I assume, to see if he could or not.
Right. Probably, yeah.
I'd be very interested to know if it's actually a good book. Like, if it's like, I mean, yeah, I guess this is a story, but my 6-year-old cousin could have written this.
Well, here you go, Jared. Here's a quick little, I'll give you a little teaser, and all our listeners a teaser. So, basically, the plot is about the dying fictional city of Branton Hills, which is revitalized. Interestingly enough, the word revitalized has an E in there, so they couldn't have used that, which is revitalized as a result of the efforts of protagonist John Gadsby and a youth group he organizes. Also, the word he.
Youth group. Okay, that's
youth
fair.
group is okay, but the word he also has E. Organizes.
Yeah.
I don't know how they wrote verbs.
Yeah, there's
They would
probably
have
a
to
lot
come
of
up with different
use of
verbs.
Gatsby rather than he.
Right. Oh, that's true. Or John or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
right
yeah.
here on the cover of the book, 50,000 word novel without the letter E. Right on there. Gadsby. Check it out, everybody. Let us know what you think about it. I might even have to give it a read as well. It blows my mind. The fact that there's a book out there with that many pages. Here, Jared, I'll give you a couple sentences of the opening paragraph, just so you can see how his prose is.
Okay.
So, if youth throughout all history had had a champion to stand up for it, to show a doubting world that a child can think and possibly do it practically, you wouldn't constantly run across folks today who claim that a child don't know anything. A child's brain starts functioning at birth and has amongst its many convolutions thousands of dormant atoms into which God has put a mystic possibility for noticing an adult's act and figuring out its purport.
I mean, that sounds like a pretty smart paragraph. I did like the use of don't. Because obviously he couldn't use doesn't,
right?
But it also speaks to what he was the point he was trying to convey, that like there's no excuse for being dumb or whatever,
right?
Or whatever he was saying. But the irony of that, what just happened there, whatever dumb shit he was saying. So the 26-letter English alphabet makes up how many distinct sounds? So as we've been mentioning, that vowels are so versatile in the English language and in the Latin Latin alphabet. So how many sound? Let's think, if we gave each vowel its own distinct sound and letter, how many? It's more than this actually. But
Do you just mean vowels or the entire alphabet?
Entire alphabet.
Oh God, I should kind of know this because I took a class in grad school all about phonetics and the different pronunciation. I would guess, so there's 26 letters. I would guess there's at least probably about three different ways you can pronounce vowels, if not four. We'll say 4 to be safe. I'm doing the math on the fly right now, and I'm no mathematician, but I'm gonna guess somewhere around, I would say 65 or 70.
A little too much. More than 40 distinct sounds.
40. Okay. All right.
What's the longest word in the English language without any vowels in it?
Without any vowels in it? I have no idea.
I'll give you a clue. We have gobs of it because we love music.
It has no vowel.
We have this. It's within us. We can't help but tap our foot along and get perfectly on beat because what do we have?
Rhythm.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. But what about sometimes why? Come on now. Why can sometimes be a vowel?
In this case, no.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Depending on who you ask, why might be a vowel. Just say
What's the only letter in the English alphabet with more than one syllable? I mean, this is easy.
One letter with more than one syllable?
There's only one letter in the English alphabet with more than one syllable.
I don't know. You tell me.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.
Is it W?
W. That's 3 syllables.
Oh, yeah. True. I thought you meant like when we pronounce the letter by itself.
Yeah, W. That's the letter by itself.
Well, right. I see what you're saying. Okay. And that's what throws me off a bit with the way that Czech people say the alphabet, because it's way different. Like I've heard my colleagues on the phone like spelling my last name. I'm not going to spell it here, but it's like S is a S, So,
right.
So la is
so
L.
there's an S in it. We know that much.
Right. Right. So it's interesting how they spell it. But yeah, good. Give me some more fun facts, Jared. I'm loving this.
The longest word in the English language without an E. This is quite a word. I'm actually going to Google it just so I can figure out what it actually means.
Huh.
I mean, you're not even going to be... no offense,
Yeah, I have no
you're
idea.
not gonna get it.
I won't get it. No, it's okay. None taken.
The definition of it, we'll start with that, is the action or habit of estimating something as worthless.
No idea.
And it says after, the word is used chiefly as a curiosity. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
The word is flakin. Flaxe now see ni hilapilafication. Filication. Flaxi now see ni hilafilication.
Why are you reading that like it's a foreign language?
I mean, it basically is. No, I'll tell you why. Because I was actually reading the phonetic spelling. Because it's actually spelled FLOCCI. That's what I should have told you to say it. FLOCCINAUCINIHILIPH. Oh, excuse me. PILI fication. FICATIO.
Okay. Huh.
So that's why I had to read the
word.
That's why I was saying it weird.
Right. Well, and it takes some time also to learn how to read the phonetic alphabet. I'm pretty good at it after taking a course in phonetics and I had to listen to. It was really crazy. I would have to listen to speaking samples of foreigners speaking English, or I should say non-native English speakers, and we would have to write out what they said. And it's really difficult because I think the easiest way to tell when someone has an accent is from their vowels, to be honest.
Right.
I think vowels tend to be a dead giveaway. Obviously, in English, it's also the TH and the R, because the American R is very different than most R's in other languages, but vowels especially. And so trying to write out these vowels using the phonetic alphabet was pretty difficult.
I've never, not since English class in middle school or something, have I actually studied or been taught the phonetic alphabet. So to me, honestly, it probably would have been easier if I just tried to read the actual thing, because halfway through I was like, I don't think I know fully how to understand the phonetic alphabet. What does the double dot over an A mean?
I think that's like an A, like an umlaut, A umlaut.
Oh, so it's flakexa then. But that's an O, but it's FLOC. So I feel like it's flock.
I'm not sure.
They're representing the FLOC as FLA, like umlaut KSE. Upside down backwards E. That's a schwa.
The upside down backwards E.
So it's like flakschwa. Maybe I should have sent this to you. Anyway, you probably could have actually read it. So if you were to what letter is not used in numbers until you get pretty high up there? That's the only clue I'm going to give you.
What? Wait, what? Can you say that one more time?
There's one letter that's not used in, I'd say, the majority of numbers until you get to... That's wrong.
That's wrong. Oh,
40,
shoot, what is it?
50, 60.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know.
B.
Oh,
B is not used until billion.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. That's really interesting. B is not used until billion.
There you go.
Okay. And as one of my favorite rappers says, as Logic says, one of his songs he calls shortens a billion for a Willie. Looking for that William.
I remember that. I think it's because you played that song for me.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
Also,
I agree.
Just to go back to what you were saying about the A with the dots over it, it's an Oh,
yeah. Fluck. Flux. Slowly but surely, I'm figuring out how to say this word.
Right. Well, and see what's helpful nowadays is there's actually a website, www.internationalphoneticalphabet.org, and they have all these vowel sounds. And the nice thing is, too, most of the time when you learn how to read the International Phonetic Alphabet, you also learn where the sounds are created in your mouth, which I think is actually helpful for a lot of people to visualize where do I create these vowel sounds? Because, most vowel sounds, because you're opening your mouth to make an ah or an a, you have to know where it is, where you produce the sound. Otherwise, you'll never be able to replicate the right sound.
And if you try to say the alphabet without moving your mouth, every letter sounds the exact same.
Good point.
He. Both G and C were originally represented by the Phoenician symbol for Gimel. So those were kind of used to be the same letter, which meant camel. It was the Romans who finally separated the letters into two separate letters. So C and G have some relationship there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
H might be the most hated letter in Britain.
Okay.
Hello.
I mean, in some words also, R is also gone.
According to Michael Rosen, that's true. He's the author of an alphabetical book called How Every Letter Tells a Story. For almost 2,000 years, Brits have pronounced H two ways, etch and hetch.
Yep.
You know what he's talking about?
I do. I've heard people say that before because they learned British English, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I've heard them say the etch or whatever. And I'm like, what? Are you spelling something? What are you doing? And yeah, they're saying H. Also, I don't know if it's because we're American or what, but I just find it so funny when people say Z for Z.
Oh,
but I'm sure everybody listening to this who's learning British English is like, those stupid Americans say Z. It's Z.
I had speaking of H, I had a teacher who was American in middle school, and she used to drop H's. So like human would be human, like you-man.
Where was she from?
I don't know. Michigan, I think.
Really?
I don't know. I was too young to care. But yeah, she would say like human or humanity. That's for some reason human's clearly the only word I can think of at the time of my head.
I think that's actually they do that in some New York accents. I mean, our carroted president likes to say huge instead of huge. I think Bernie Sanders also doesn't pronounce the H in certain things. And I think it's like a New York, I don't know where exactly in New York.
Both of those people are from New York.
Right. So yeah, that's pretty interesting though.
What is the little dot over the I and J called? Because it does have a word. It's called something.
Dot over the I and J. Like in words like naive, you mean, right? Like over the I?
Yeah.
I have no idea. No idea.
It's a fun word. It's called a tittle.
Really? A tittle?
Yeah. Don't forget that. Don't forget to tittle your I's and Q's.
That's titillating.
It is. A whole bunch of dots all over the place.
Dot your T's and cross your I's?
You're not, tittle your eye, cross your T's and tittle your I's. There are two letters that don't appear on the periodic table of elements. One of them.
Oh, shoot. That's a good question.
At the beginning of my name.
So a J.
And the other one is a quality. Nope. It's a quality word, though. It's a real quality letter, not word. That's what I meant to say. It's Q. That's why I said that.
Q. Oh, really? Oh, okay. J and Q. Interesting. We'll have to come up with a new element called jartonium. Or jartium.
Okay.
Put that J up on there. Interesting. That's interesting.
I mean, I can keep going all day, but I think that's good. Those are some fun Jared facts. Jartoniums.
There you go. Perfect. And in the future, I'm sure there's plenty more we can discuss, so we can always do a different alphabets 2.0.
For sure.
Sometime in the future
we have been talking about that. Is revisiting some of our early episodes and really giving them the proper attention that they deserve now that we're seasoned podcasters.
That is true.
And not just dipping our toe into the water. Because this is not my full-time job. No. But yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed doing all the research for that.
Taught me a lot, Jared. I appreciate it.
But now let's talk about some rhythms and talk about our song of the pod.
The song definitely has some rhythm. Yes, sir. So I have to give a shout out to my good friend Pavel. He's the one who actually showed me this band called Krausberry, which is the name of the lead singer, his last name. And so he's the one actually I play music with, so I jam with, right? And he knows I'm a big fan of blues. He's actually the one that went with me to the Buddy Guy concert. So he really understands how big of a blues nerd I am. And so he said, he was playing the riff one day to this song. You know, it has this really bluesy kind of groove and feel to it. And I'm like, oh, what is that? And he's like, Czech blues song. And I'm like, what? Czech blues song? Like, what is this? And he played it for me. And so the song is by the band called Krausberry, and it's called Postelství štěstí, which I wish I could tell you what that means. Any of our Czech listeners out there, what does it mean?
It means the message of happiness.
That would make sense, because most of the song is about sending messages and being happy that you received a message.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because based off of at least Krausberry's tone, that would not have been my guess.
Right. Well, it's because it's got that dirty blues tone to it.
Yeah. It has a very American sound to it. And it's got that classic, like, I mean, it's a variation of this, but that classic sort of like, dun, 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 sort of like that classic. There we go. That's what I meant to do. One thing I noticed watching the music video of this, and I don't fully understand how I'd be in this position, seems, at least to me, real difficult to be a non-instrument playing frontman.
Okay.
To just sort of stand up there and command the stage without an instrument in your hand, especially when, say, your guitarist is off doing something. It's almost like a Ricky Bobby, what do I do with my hands situation.
I do enjoy watching him what he does with his hands.
Because you got to be into it. You can't just stand there. But also it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just self-conscious. You just got to feel it. I guess you gotta be, you're one with the music, so just go with the music, maybe is what it is.
Right.
But every time I watched him, I'm like, man, I'd look like a square up there.
I would say Krausberry is definitely experiencing the tarab, or Arabic for musically induced state of ecstasy. Another artist you should check out, Jared, that I think also is really related to this, what do you do with your hands, and they're also fun to watch, is Joe Cocker. If you look up, with a little help from my friends, which is originally a Beatles song, he played it at Woodstock, and he's doing all sorts of crazy stuff with his hands. It's really entertaining. But it's the same thing with Krausberry. I think he's just getting into it. Like you said, he's feeling the music, he's feeling the rhythm. And I think he also is so in tune with the music. If you watch when he moves his hands, it's like right when the music will stop and he'll sing. And it's perfectly timed.
So it's almost like, I mean, not that he's really conducting people, but it's just almost a conductor kind of way to feel the music.
For sure. And I have to say, what I love about this song by Krausberry is the fact that it has this super bluesy riff. It has slide guitar in it. And also, I just bought a slide in Prague a few weeks ago. And so when I whipped that out, I was jamming with Pavel the other day. When I whipped that out, you should have seen the look on his face. It was great.
I could imagine you, when I was listening to it and I was noticing the guitarist, I was like, oh, this sounds like stuff that like Chad would definitely be playing. It sounded right up your alley. I was like, I could imagine him on that stage right now.
100%. But see, the reason why I love this song, though, is it has a very uncommon like chorus or bridge. So you know, the main verses are that blues riff, that dun 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 dun, that very typical, I mean, I hate to say it, almost cliched blues riff. Right? Like, I think when people think of the blues, they think of that riff. Or a different version, like, right? Like, one or the other. They think of those two as like a blues riff or a blues melody or whatever you want to call it. But with this, the chorus is really interesting because generally a blues song, sorry to get into the music theory for all of our listeners out there who are not into theory, but generally a typical blues song has the one chord, which is the main chord. So it would be that dun, 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 that's the one chord. Then it usually will go up to the 4 chord. And this is common in rock music and blues music, and sometimes in jazz music, pop music as well. And then in blues music, they have what they call a turnaround, which you go to the 5, down to the 4, back to the 1. And it has a natural progression. When you hear this, you kind of know. You don't even need to be a blues fan. I think most people, as long as you can hear this, you know, oh, this is going back to the original riff or original tone or chord. This song doesn't do that. So this song, the chorus is completely different, but it still sounds great. And somehow they made it work with that blues riff. It's almost like, I mean, it's really like the song is in two parts, right? There's kind of an A section and a B section, but it all fits together really well, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And it's just classic bluesy. And his voice is, I mean, the Czech language seems very conducive to blues because, not that it's an aggressive language, because that's not what I mean to say. But, like, it has, like, those, something about, like, all the rolling of the R's and, like, the harsh sort of consonants.
Right.
Adds a nice, level to the music, I think.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. So check that out on our Twitter, Untranslatable1. Krausberry, Postevsky, Štesti, fantastic song. What was it again in English, Jared?
The Message of Happiness. If people are, well, not if you're listening to this, then you're listening to this. How about you scroll down a little bit in the description, and you'll see there's a link right there for the Song of the Pod playlist. Click on that, and you can listen to the song, because that's what I do for the listeners.
That's right. One of many, many things.
So it's Jared, right there.
Now before we get into your weekly Czech test, this word was too perfect for me to not have as a Czech word of the pod. So the word is abeceda. What do you think that means?
Is that their form of alphabet?
That means alphabet in Czech.
That's so much better.
Isn't that awesome? Abeceda.
It's kind of just saying, like, is that essentially just saying the ABCs?
ABCD, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
because I was going to do the Czech word for word, and I thought that's only loosely related, and I figured alphabet would be something boring like alphabet, right, or something. And then when I looked that up and it was abeceda, I was like, oh my god, I have to use this as the Czech word of the pod. It's too good.
Yes.
All right, Jared. So it's time for your Czech quiz. Let's see what you remember.
Ještě jedno. I'm trying to keep it fresh. Means another round.
Yep.
Děkuji is thank you. Děkujeme is we thank you. What were some new ones that I learned last week? I remember.
What did I teach you last week? I don't even remember.
I just edited it the other day, and I remember taking note of it, and now I forgot.
What were the English terms? Do you remember?
No, that's what that's what I don't remember. But there's obviously prosím, please. Dobrý den is good day. Zaplatíme prosím is check please. Uche prosím is how you, if you want to sound like a herb, you'd say that. See, I'm trying to keep it fresh, but I can't even remember it anymore.
I'll teach you a new term that I may have even said before, but I think it's a very important one. Is jak se řekne.
Can I take a guess on what that would mean?
Yeah. Jak se řekne.
So I'm going to guess it starts with how are you? Something about how are you?
It's not how are you.
Because I know jak
it is how. It is how.
Okay, because jak se máš is how are you doing?
Right.
Jak is how. How is...
This one's hard to directly... I mean,
how's
it's
your
hard
day?
To directly translate it. No. Jak se řekne means how do you say. Jak se řekne. How do you say.
Okay.
That's a good one to know. Jak se řekne.
I almost said it like a German.
You're getting there. You're getting there. All right, Jared. So good job with your Czech words. I definitely give you the the Chad Czech teacher untranslatable stamp of approval for today.
Thank you.
So, Jared, you know, when I was doing this episode, I was looking for jokes. I was like, you know what? I'm going off the cuff today, and I came up with an original one.
My favorite.
And we'll see how you and the listeners like it. So, Jared, what do you call a person who, if they eat way too much sugar, what do you call the disease you get when you eat way too much sugar?
Diabetes.
So what do you call someone, or what sickness does someone suffer from when they try to learn a new alphabet and they get very sick?
Alphabetes.
Alphabetus.
That's great. I like it.
You like that one?
Yes. Yes, I got a little bit of the alphabetus just doing the research for this. It was an overflow of information.
I believe it. I feel like that needs to become a new word. Alphabetus when you're struggling trying to read or learn or understand a new alphabet.
That's what we're all about here, is making new untranslatables. Slipping on gator. And now new words is alphabetus.
Alphabetus.
Yeah. Got that
good.
alphabetus.
That's right. Well, Jared, I think it's time for a quote of the pod. And I want your input this time. I feel like a lot of times I just kind of go off the cuff and give one. You've done so much research and done such an amazing job this episode. I'm curious, what would you say to wrap this up?
That's not fair. Why would you do this to me?
I mean, I can come up with one, but I think it takes two to tango, Jared.
You're so good at this. I mean, mine's not going to be a succinct quote, but I personally just found it interesting that I don't know. I think it just gives perspective on a language. I like the alphabet.
It's a great start.
I'm trying to think.
Great start.
What's the alphabet is the skeleton of any language.
Oh, I'm not even going to say a quote because that is perfect. That is perfect. So everybody, as Jared so eloquently said, alphabets are the skeletons of a language. I changed it up a little bit, but yeah, it was perfect.
That's better.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. I think we don't realize how important alphabets really are to our languages. Obviously, since most people are literate, it makes a big difference. I think had we be somehow recording this podcast in the Middle Ages or when people couldn't read as frequently, it'd be a different story. But I would agree with you. I think alphabets are definitely a skeleton of the language, and they show. I think they give an insight in a way to the way people write and think as well. I mean, if you look at some of the languages we discussed, visually they're very, very different, and I think that's really fascinating.
Yes, I agree with you.
Absolutely. Well, good work today, Jared. I feel like a very educated man after hearing you with all these different facts about alphabets. So
thanks.
I really appreciate it, and I hope all of our listeners appreciate it as well.
You betcha.
And as usual, we are so thankful for all of your support, spanning over 10 different countries. Hopefully we'll be somewhere around 15 or 20 in the near future. That would be really amazing. So spread the love. Show your friends, your family members, your students, if you're a teacher, the Untranslatable Podcast. Although there is a warning, not all of our episodes are definitely PG material, so keep that in mind.
Slipping on gator piss.
But we really appreciate it. All of your support. Thank you all so much. We hope you've learned something new about languages, untranslatables, and alphabets today. I know I definitely have. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme.